Flashgun Casey, press photographer. Out of a big city's roaring life, out of a great newspaper's pounding heart, come the exciting adventures of a man with a camera. Flashgun Casey, press photographer. Columbia presents a new adventure character, Flashgun Casey, press photographer. Tough, daring, typical of the men who often risk their lives so that you may see the news as well as read it. Their salaries are not large, and they seldom get much credit. But their lives are packed with danger and thrills. Tonight and every Wednesday night at this time, Columbia invites you to follow the story of Flashgun Casey and the people who pass in swift-moving parade before the shutters of his camera. Tonight's story, the case of the switched plate. The clock in the tower of the Express building reads exactly 7 p.m. In the city room, Ed Burke, the night city editor, is arguing with Casey, a tall, powerfully built man who is carrying a plate case and a camera.
Quit griping, Casey. You got your pictures, I'll go develop them.
Okay, but for the last time, don't send me to any more weddings. I hate weddings.
Tell me that when you marry.
That day ever arrives, I'll see that it's a private one, not an Easter parade.
Not a big shot there, huh?
Stage, screen, and radio. I was knee-deep in celebrity.
Did Ann Williams cover the story okay?
I guess so. My job was to take pictures of the clam bake, not to write about it.
Many a guy would give a month's salary to be in the same room with Gloria Dolores.
Ouch.
What's the matter now?
That name, Gloria Dolores. I wonder who dug that one up.
Miss Dolores is one of our most famous movie stars.
With all that's going on in the world today, a mere wedding is unimportant.
Whenever a woman like Miss Dolores gets married, it's not a mere wedding. And I hope you got some good shots.
White satin and orchids fairly dripped from the lens.
And the Express would like to use those pictures sometime tonight, if you don't mind.
Okay, but if the public never sees it...
Story of the Dolores wedding, Mr. Burke.
Thanks, Ann.
That's what I mean. The story of the Dolores one. The poor guy doesn't count. Already he's missed the Dolores.
How did the pictures turn out?
He wouldn't know. He's been too busy arguing against that wonderful institution known as marriage.
I'm not arguing against it. I only say send someone else when our dear paper wants pictures of the happy dear paper.
We'll cover a lot of assignments like the Dolores wedding.
That doesn't mean I'll have to like him any better.
You mean you'd rather be taking pictures of Thompson?
Are you kidding?
But Miss Dolores did look sweet, didn't? Did look
Yeah.
sweet.
And so did the groom, Mr. Dolores. Knocking at my door. Well, come on in, William. Hey, not so wide. You're letting in too much light.
Oh, sorry. I can hear.
That's why they call it dark.
Room. How are the pictures, Sonny?
I just put them in the suit. Faces and figures should be showing any moment now.
And the Dolores has... I'd do anything to look like her.
You hold your own.
Yes.
And stop whispering. I don't know why everyone does that when they come into one of these rooms. Speak. You won't fight me. They'll develop...
Okay, Mr. Casey,
Hey,
okay.
wait a minute, my ear.
This business. She has a marvelous smile, hasn't she?
If you say so. There's $100 million up. Hey, what's this?
Whatever it is, it's not a wedding.
Oh, looks like a workshop or something.
Look, here's another one. A long room filled with odd-looking machines.
Yeah. And here's a close-up of one. I never took these. How'd they get in my camera?
Somebody took them.
Yeah. Well, get this. Some guy running... Well, he's running right toward the lens.
Yeah, he looks mad.
Uh-oh.
Recognize it?
No, but I do everything else. Or I think I do. These pictures are of the Hartley Laboratories.
Oh, he's the inventor, isn't he?
One of the greatest. He's a regular estate. 6 or 7 buildings on the place. Conducts all his experiments there. Hey, this looks like a machine shop.
I suppose a lot of people would like to nose around there.
You can say that again. But they're not allowed to. All their work is done in secrecy. Hartley even has his own private guard. They won't allow a camera within a mile of the place.
I send the guy to take pictures of a wedding, and he comes back with the Hartley laboratory.
But I tell you, I never took those shots. You think I'm crazy?
I know. And the ones of the wedding, you didn't take those either.
No, someone picked up my plate case by mistake. I got his. See? It's almost exactly like mine.
The gentleman was very careless.
It was a natural mistake. Why, we were stumbling over each other. That shindig was represented by every news photographer in town.
Not forgetting the ones from the magazine.
Yeah.
Well, whoever he is, I'm glad he didn't hold the laboratories to an exclusive. At least he took some pictures of the wedding, too. Well, we'll have to run them. I doubt if that plate case of yours will ever turn up.
I'll get it back.
You're lucky you didn't walk off with your camera.
And that must be like mine, too. Hey, look, Burke, this is serious. The guy who took these pictures had no right being on that property.
I suppose I don't know that.
Well, what's so funny?
I'm thinking how surprised the guy was when he developed your pictures. All that glamour and no machine.
You know, what I can't understand is this man here. He's running right toward the camera.
Yes, that is odd. It looks as though he would... Hey, wait a minute. Who were you near at the wedding, Casey?
I've been trying to think. Blake of the Star is a good man.
Yeah.
Raymond of the Inquirer. John's a fashion magazine.
Mm-hmm.
The four of us sort of stuck together, moving around, taking shots of the other celebrities as well. Oh, but it couldn't be one of them.
Why not?
I've known them for years. They wouldn't take a chance like that.
Some guys that sell their souls for a little dough. I'll take this. Burke speaking. Yeah? What? That's very interesting. About 6 hours ago, eh? Thanks. Okay, I'll switch you to a rewrite. Dixon, take this. That was Kelly.
Our Kelly, who covers the police?
Yeah. They just found a plainclothes guard out of the Hartley Laboratories. 2 bullets in his chest. Killed about 6 hours ago. Does that mean anything to you, Casey?
Yeah, it does now. He's the guy here in the picture. He was running to stop that camera. And in the excitement, our photographer got him on the film before he shot him.
Yeah, that's the way it adds up. Well, get out there and see if we're right. And check on your friends, Blake, Raymond, and Johns. And be careful. It'll be much easier for him to finish off his second victim. And from where I sit, you look like the next prospect. What a beautiful woman. Miss Dolores looks extremely lovely. The guests charming. The ballroom and tables beautifully decorated. But I can't see where any of it helps me.
But I've explained, Mr. Koch. I never took those pictures.
Then who did?
Well, I don't know.
I suppose you do know that he has the ones you took.
Well, he must have.
Like these, no doubt, developed by him.
I don't remember my plate case being out of my hands for a moment.
A moment would be enough.
Well, there's no way they can trace it to me. I'm safe.
Are you? Bit of a long time to arrange getting a man in there. I mean, at a time when he could work with a camera and not be interrupted. That opportunity won't come again.
And I suppose it's useless to ask for money?
Quite, you failed. Well, I greatly appreciate looking at this very lovely actress. I would much more appreciate looking at the photographs you lost. Especially the ones with that new fog-penetrating machine. I know 2 corporations that pay $100,000 for that.
I've never failed before.
And you've always been paid before. I was listening to my radio just before you came in. You know the guard that you eliminated has been found?
He came out of nowhere, running toward me.
And you stopped his running.
Yes, I had to. I think his picture's on one of the plates.
Very clever. Do you always photograph your victims before doing away with them?
I never killed anybody before.
Please, what the harsh word.
Well, I never did. I didn't think I'd ever have to.
First one does leave you a trifle shaken. After that, you become used. But if you'd brought the photograph directly to me...
But I had to be at that wedding, Mr. Koch. As it was, I barely made it.
Yes, of course, your job, which is such a wonderful blind. Tell me, how did it feel walking into all that luxury immediately after disposing of the last? Blood in that circuit, everything. Circuit, everything. Circuit, everything. I wonder what your employers would do if they even dreamed of the pictures you sometimes take with their camera.
Remember, that was my idea. The same camera for both my ordinary work and the work I do for you. That way no one will ever become suspicious.
No? I don't doubt that someone is at this very moment. And he knows that the photographer is not only a thief, but also, shall we say, someone who doesn't hesitate to stop another breather.
Hey, you're right. But how's he going to know it's me?
Well, maybe he won't, but if one of your picture-taking friends should start to ask questions, no matter how subtly put, be careful.
I will.
And if he should become too inquisitive, you can always handle him as you did the guard. Yes, when that gentleman makes his appearance, remember, he's the man who has your bag. And you've been left holding one.
It was the same guy, all right. The murderer rolled his body against the wall and put a machine cover over him.
Now, wait. They didn't let you in, did they?
No, but I talked to the man who found him. Also to a couple of Logan's men.
Who's Logan?
Lieutenant Logan of the homicide squad.
Oh, did you tell them about the pictures?
Yeah. And every photographer I could think of who covered the wedding. I left the plate case with them. I'll try to trace it.
A lot of good that'll do.
Yeah, there's thousands of those cases.
What about your pals, Blake, Raymond, and Johns?
They're not pals. These guys I bump into making the rounds.
But you've known them a long time.
Yeah.
Well, what do you really know about them?
They all have cameras and plate cases like mine.
I mean, personally.
That's personal.
Now, look, this is no time
All
for...
right.
If you two feel like using some stronger language, I can always leave the room.
Oh, forget it, Williams, forget it.
Blake is married. He has 2 kids. I found him at home reading Our Hearts Were Young and Gay.
I wish ours were. Well, go on.
He was sort of surprised to see me, as I don't usually make those little social visits.
We know you're strictly a nightclub guy.
Quiet. Anyway, I asked him what he'd been doing before the wedding.
With finesse, I hope.
I'm always subtle.
Yeah, like a tank. And what was Mr. Blake doing?
Roaming around?
Oh, fine.
You see, that guard was murdered around 2 o'clock. The wedding took place at 3. The reception at 4. So the guy who
You
did
don't
it...
have to draw a blueprint. Where did you find Raymond of the Enquirer?
At a bar?
With the blonde.
No, redhead.
Not the
one you know, Bert.
Oh.
There are a lot of redheads in the world.
And what had he been doing prior to 3 o'clock?
Roaming around.
That's just dandy. Just dandy. And Johns of the fashion magazine.
Also found at a bar. One of the fantasy clubs.
Alone.
Yeah, but his girlfriend works there. And early this afternoon...
Now, wait.
Was...
Don't tell me. Let me guess. Don't tell me. Let me guess. He was roaming around.
Right.
Not an alibi in the bunch.
I still can't believe one of them did it. It must be. Well, I found 2 of them at bars, and that's where I'm going.
Can I tag along, Casey? Can I tag along, Casey?
Why not?
Down the Blue Note, huh?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's a musician.
Where's that?
It's a musician's hangout. Casey always goes there when he wants to think. They have a piano player there. Who's his nerve.
And sometimes helps me solve a problem.
Well, I hope he can help you with this one. And you'd better warn Williams about that bartender.
Yeah. His name is Ethelbert, and he reads the Atlantic Monthly in Lord's Unfeigned. And he's tough. Sometimes he has to be the bouncer, but you'll enjoy him.
I expected to hear a jam session going on.
It's only 11:30. The musicians don't roll in here until they're through work.
Oh,
Want to sit at the bar?
fine.
Ethelbert, put down that New Republic and give us some service.
Hiya, Flashgun.
Service.
New Republic? Look.
One world. How do you find it?
Great. It says here on page...
I've read the book.
But maybe it didn't absorb it.
I did. It's excellent. Hey, what are you looking at? You ever see a pretty girl before?
Not that pretty.
Well, thank you, Ethelbert.
This is Ann Williams, Ethelbert. She is new on the Express. I'm showing her the site.
Full of eight.
Beer. Williams?
Same.
2 beers.
I'm surprised that you find time to read a book.
Yeah. Right now I'm surprised, but not about that. Blake, Rima, John. Has to be one of them, but why?
Well, what they were after must be worth a fortune.
Yeah, they wouldn't talk about it out there today.
2 beers, no heads on them.
Thanks, Ethelbert.
What'd you think of Thomas Paine, Flashgun?
He was a very great man.
Yeah. Quote, "These are the times which try men's souls." Unquote. I know all about Thomas Paine, Miss Williams.
I'm going over the piano. Want to come along?
Listen, Flashgun.
It's not that I don't want to lend you an ear, Ethelbert, but I have a lot on my mind. Maybe Ernie and his music can help straighten me out.
Well, I'll stay put and hear about the famous revolutionary figure.
Thanks, Miss Williams.
I said you'd enjoy it.
As you no doubt know, Miss Williams, Thomas Paine was not
Hello, Ernie.
Hiya.
Slow night?
Not too good. What's on your mind?
Plenty.
Anything you'd like to hear?
Nope. As long as you stick to the old ones.
We agree on that. Remember this one?
Yeah, sure. Confessing.
Uh-huh.
The late 20s. Maybe earlier.
That's right.
Well, that world's gone.
Yep. But we still have the song.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all we have.
Pretty girl you left at the bar.
Yeah. Ann Williams, reporter. Only been in town a few weeks.
Thinking, aren't you?
And getting nowhere fast.
Want to talk about it?
I can't.
Nicest looking girl I've ever seen you with. You ought to marry, Casey.
How about yourself?
I tried it once.
And?
She left me.
Just like that?
Just like that. You see, I didn't make enough money. She wanted too much.
And, she met a guy who had it?
That's right. Yeah. Funny the way a guy thinks when he's losing a woman. There's nothing he wouldn't do for her. To give her the things she wants, he'd almost commit murder.
Some guys do.
Yeah. What's the matter, Casey? Did I say something?
I think you did.
You going?
Yeah. And thanks, Ernie. You've been a great help. I may see you later on.
As I was saying, Miss Williams, sometimes I have to throw a guy out, but it ain't like it was in the old days.
No?
No. Then they threw me out.
Look, Williams, I've got to run along. You go back to the office and tell Bert I'll see him in an hour or so.
Where are you going?
To see a dame at the Fantasy Club, and you can't come. Ethelbert, Williams will pay for my beer. Okay, Ma. Turn your head a little to the left. That's it. Hold it now.
Oh, I closed my eyes.
You only thought so. Anyway, we'll take another one to make sure.
All right. I'm awfully glad you dropped around, Kate.
So am I.
I saw you sitting at the table out front while I was doing my number. I didn't think you came to take my picture.
Of course, it's no novelty for you to have your picture taken. You sit for Hal a lot.
Mm-hmm. Once a week regularly.
It must be love.
Oh, it's still nice to have someone else photograph me. How's this?
There?
Oh, not as attractive as Mr. Lawrence?
Oh, you're a different type.
Hal tells me it was quite a wedding.
Yeah. Were you with Hal before he went to it?
No, he was working.
I know, but, I thought you might have had lunch together.
Not today. This better?
Yeah, fine. But, don't cross your legs.
Oh.
And don't smile. We'll make this one sort of, pensive.
Oh, I couldn't look pensive if I tried.
Think of green fields and moonlight nights.
All right, but I still won't look pensive.
Hold it. That does it. Look for them in the express.
How many to take altogether?
7.
Can I have a set?
Sure. I'll drop them over to the towers. That's where you live, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Expensive.
Perhaps we could have lunch together.
And get Hal sorting it.
We wouldn't have to have lunch there.
As far as that goes, we could have it here.
Yeah.
I never thought the Fantasy Club would have dressing rooms like this. This dressing room looks more like an apartment.
Just a few personal touches that I've added.
Just a few personal touches.
Mm-hmm.
Very elaborate. And those rocks I've been photographing on your lovely arms. They almost reach the elbows. They're real, I imagine.
Everything I wear is real.
I noticed that mink you were sporting around this past winter.
Do you like it?
Swell. Those foxes over there are nice, too. Oh, gosh, it must be great to have an income.
Are you kidding?
Well, you don't buy those things singing at nightclubs.
At least not one like this.
Why do you work in a nightclub, Mara? Apparently you don't have to.
I like to be seen, and it's something to do. I don't have to tell you I'm not much as a singer.
But you're really something to look at.
Oh, thanks. Then, we have a date for lunch?
If it weren't for Hal, I wouldn't hesitate a moment.
Oh, forget Hal.
I'd like to marry sometime. How long have you two been going together?
Almost 2 years.
That's amazing.
Why? He's very generous.
Yeah, I can see that.
I like to live well. You don't know what it is not to have anything.
Oh, don't I?
I'd rather be dead than to live like some people.
Nothing but the best for you, huh, Mara?
Oh. Don't you think I deserve it?
Mm-hmm. But so do thousands of other girls in the world. There are girls who haven't even enough to eat.
Are you giving me a lecture?
No, but that's why we're not going to have lunch together. You're too expensive for me.
Perhaps to you, I wouldn't be too expensive.
It wouldn't last. You'd miss those lovely gifts that Hal passes out.
I still don't see any reason why we shouldn't see each other once in a while.
By the way, where is Hal?
Oh, he usually drops in around this time. Shall I tell him you were here?
Well, why not?
Would you like to wait for him?
No, I'll run along. I think I'll develop these pictures tonight.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The Express thanks you, and I thank you.
Do you think one of them might be on the theatrical page tomorrow?
The theatrical page? You underrate old Casey. There's a possibility you'll find one on the front page. So long. Hiya, Benny. Any payphones here?
Yeah, 2 of them over there by the section.
Thanks.
Burke speaking.
Hello, Bert.
Casey, what do you think we're printing? The Boy's Companion? Where are you?
Phone booth at Benny's Fantasy Club. I just got some shots for the morning papers. And if I were you, I'd leave plenty of space on the front page.
Well, you'd better get back here with something soon, or I'll hold a 4-line spread in the obituary for you. What are the pictures? And what suspect is to have the benefit of your latest brainwave?
I just shot some pictures of the suspect's girlfriend. I'm on my way down to develop them. Now, unless I miss my guess, you'll be writing to the end of this story in tomorrow's paper. And by the way, you'd better get one of Logan's men down there. The way things look right now, Oh, hold on a minute. Here comes our friend. I think he's going to make a call in the booth next to me. Maybe I can catch part of it. Hold it.
Hello, Mr. Cox. He talked to me earlier tonight, then took some pictures of Mara. For his paper, he told me. But why at 1 in the morning? No, I'm certain he's the one. Okay. Yeah, I'll be careful. Where'll I come for the money? Above your antique shop on Sedgwick Avenue. You mean I've got to take care of him tonight? What do you think I'm made of? It was only this afternoon that I know, Mr. Koch, but I never expected that to happen. All right. You think so? I'll do it tonight. Now.
Hello, Brick. Did you hear that?
You moronic offspring of a printer's devil. You had your hand over that mouthpiece.
Of course I had my hand over the mouthpiece. Think I want you to take all the credit? Now get this. Send several of Logan's men over to Koch's antique shop on Sedgwick Avenue. Mr. Koch will be in the apartment upstairs. Pick him up. And I may need one of Logan's men while I'm developing these pictures.
After all the runaround you've given Logan, you know how he'll feel about sending a man out to protect you.
Okay, but you know what happens to your story if they miss Koch and our friend gets me?
Well, Logan will probably take that chance, but I'll ask him. And I doubt if a man could have time to get here anyway.
If that's the way it is, maybe you better frame that obituary in purple satin under glass. For me. So long. Oh, a dark room, very dark. And Casey's in the dark, and this isn't the love. You're letting in a lot of light, Hal.
Afraid it'll spoil Mara's pictures?
Yeah. You want to see him?
No.
Why turn on the light?
I might miss you in the dark.
You seem to know your way around. What'd you do? Come up the back stairs?
I've been in the express building before.
It's only at 2 in the morning, isn't it? And it's pretty steady.
So you finally noticed what it's holding?
I noticed it when you first opened the door. But, relax. Relax, Hal. We're old friends. John's the fashion magazine and Casey the Express. Just a couple of guys around town.
Cut it.
Got the same gun you used on the guard?
Saying in one respect, it doesn't make much noise.
I see.
What made you suspect me, Casey?
I could have sworn that was coming. Why is it that all criminals insist on knowing why they were suspected? Well, if it'll gladden your heart any, I'll tell you. It was a piano player. He said something which made me think of you and Mara. Then I thought of your salary as a photographer.
You made a mistake when you went back to the fantasy club the second time, Casey. You shouldn't have tried to pump Mara.
Doesn't she know what you're doing?
No.
Where'd you think the money came from?
She never asked.
Just as long as it came in, huh? But I don't think it was a mistake. I gambled that Mara would repeat our conversation word for word, except the part where I wouldn't take her to lunch.
You're right.
Oh, no. Incidentally, the police picked up a friend of yours about 15 minutes ago. Name of Koch. Antique dealer over on the east side. Oh, I see that one hit home, huh? Well, you're all through, Hal.
Later, maybe, but right now you are.
Easy. Easy on the trigger finger. You should hear it all. The big mistake is yours in coming here. I never had any evidence against you. Any real evidence. But I have now.
You'll never use it.
I've already used it. It's been used right now. You walk in this room staring straight at me with a gun in your hand. You should have looked behind the door. There's been a witness in this room all the time. In fact, right behind you now.
You think I'd fall for that whole gag?
It's not a gag.
You must think I'm dumb.
I guess you heard enough. Okay, have Logan come in.
You'll be dead when he gets here.
Ann, where did you get that blackjack?
From Ethelbert. Quote, he who gets sucked over the bean is easy to arrest. Unquote.
Put down that American Mercury, Ethelbert, and draw me a beer.
It's not the American Mercury. It's...
I know. It's still one world.
Hiya, Miss Williams.
Hello, Ethelbert. Oh, thanks for the loan of the persuader.
That's all right. She was really worried when you tore out of here, Casey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Been busy, Ethelbert?
I had to break away from this book for a while tonight, but I managed to sandwich in a very interesting article.
Would you mind drawing my beer for me, Ethelbert? I want to sit over by Ernie and listen to a couple of numbers.
Not at all. But this article was about guys who steal industrial designs by photographing them. And you know what I think?
What?
Well, just for a starter, understand, they all ought to be socked over the head, but hard. Quote, he who gets clunked over the conch is out of commission and easy to put in the clink. Unquote.
Please, Ethelbert, our beer.
Yes, Ethelbert, our beer. And this time, be sure he pays for it.
You've been listening to Flashgun Casey, Press Photographer, the first of a new series of adventure programs based on the fiction character created by George Harmon Cox. This series is written by Ashley Buck in collaboration with Mr. Cox. The program tonight was directed by Albert Ward and produced for Columbia by Chester Rainier. Join us again next Wednesday night at this same time for another swift-moving story of a press photographer, Flashgun Casey. The adventure, Murder Off the Record. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Face the camera, please. Hold it. Thanks. Look for it in the Morning Express. Casey, press photographer. Columbia brings you another adventure of Casey, press photographer. Tonight and every Saturday at this time, Columbia invites you to follow Casey on his exciting assignment and to meet the strangely assorted people who pass in swift-moving parade before the shutters of his camera. Tonight, The Clue in the Clouds. In the quiet evening air, there suddenly comes a whirring of wings. It's a helicopter, apparently out of control. Like a giant bird, it flaps crazily about for a few minutes and then heads out to sea.
What is it?
Gee, it looks like a bird.
It's a helicopter!
It's a wild plane. It's out of control.
It may fall.
Let it clear the street!
Steady desk. Burke speaking.
Hey, Burke.
Who is this? Casey?
Yes, it's Casey. Listen, there's an airplane loose over the city, a helicopter. Yeah, it's out of control. Something has happened to the pilot. It's headed out to sea. The Coast Guard is trying to get the plane in the air to follow it now.
Oh, yeah? Where are you?
Well, I'm at the Blue Note.
I thought so. Now, listen, Casey. Go home and sleep it off. I'll see you in the morning.
Now, listen, are you inferring
Yeah. You ought to know better than to phone me in that condition. Now, go home and go to bed.
Oh, stop it, Burke. I'm as sober as you are. I tell you, this is a story.
Okay. So it's a story. What do you want me to do? Stay up all night waiting for you to get
Oh, that's swell, Chief. I knew I could count on you. We're going down to the Coast Guard headquarters now and get all the dope we can. Maybe some pictures.
it? Who's with you?
Ann Williams.
All right, you crazy loon. But this had better be good. If that helicopter turns out to be a Halloween witch on a broom, you shot your last picture for me. You get that?
Get it? Huh, I know it by heart. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Ha. Helicopter.
But I'm telling you, Burke, it fell into the sea like a millstone and disappeared.
Well, Casey, if 4,000 other people hadn't seen it, I wouldn't believe it. Whose plane was it?
The police say it was John Hampton. He had the only helicopter around here.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Flew it in from his estate to the top of his office building every day.
Our pioneer air commuter.
And he's missing, huh?
Yep, he and Mrs. Hampton both.
Well, take that stuff you've got to a rewrite man. Have one of the boys fix up an obituary. We've lost one of our leading citizens in a plane accident. And that's that.
Now, listen, Burke.
Casey doesn't think it was an accident.
Oh, for Pete's sake. And why not?
Burke, I think that dive into the ocean was planned. There's something phony about this story, and I want to track it down.
All right. What do you want to do? Go chasing geese again?
You better let him, Burke.
Someday, Casey, you'll go out and cover a story that I want covered. Now, go on. Get out of here.
Thanks, Burke. Burke, I'll tell you, I'll make a bet with you. If I'm right about this, the drinks are on you. And right now, I'm going over to John Hampton's offices to see what I can find out.
Oh, you better take Williams with you. She'll just sit around and sulk till you get back.
Oh, gee, both thanks.
Okay, Burke, we're on our way. You're, Miss Gray, aren't you? Miss Matilda Gray?
Yes, I was Mr. Hampton's secretary.
Yes, what we want is material for a little story on Mr. Hampton. You think you can help us?
He was a wonderful man. Everybody admired and respected Mr. Hampton. I don't know what else I can say.
He owned this building, didn't he?
Yes, the Hampton Importing Company occupies the top 3 floors. He likes the idea of having his office here in the penthouse.
Mm-hmm. Is that the landing platform for his helicopter out there?
Yes, that's it.
You mind if I get a picture of it?
Not at all. Can you take it through the window?
Well, let's see. Yes, I think so. Yeah, good, thank you.
Now, could we have one of you, Miss
Of
Grant?
me? Yes.
Why, I don't know. I don't look very...
Oh, you look swell. Look at this picture.
But that's Mr. Hampton's picture. No, I couldn't.
Paper, this is just for the record, you know. You picture of your boss, wouldn't you?
Yes. I guess so.
Okay, hold it. Thanks. Well, that's one you won't have to look for in the Express. Now, Miss Gray, what other interests did Mr. Hampton have?
Business interest? Anything at all. Well, he had a little commercial movie studio, the Aristocrat Film Company. But that's been closed up for 6 months.
Oh? Where's that?
At 292 Falmouth Street. They made shorts, commercial reels, and trailers. But it was only sort of hobby with Mr. Hampton. Never made any money. Well, what do you know of Mr. Hampton's family and Mrs. Hampton? She was alone when she married John, Mr. Hampton. She had no living relatives. And he just had an uncle, a Robert K. Hampton.
Oh, an uncle, eh? Where's he?
Well, he lived somewhere on an island in the Celebes Sea. Now held by the Japanese, I understand. He was a sort of black sheep. Mr. Hampton hadn't heard from him for many years. Assumed he was dead or a prisoner until... Until? Well, maybe I shouldn't tell you this. But shortly before his death, a letter came from Australia. I didn't open it, but when Mr. Hampton read it, he seemed terribly upset. Then he told me it was from his uncle.
Do you have that letter now?
No, it seems to have disappeared.
And this was just before his death.
Yes, he may have had it in his pocket.
Miss Gray, this uncle, was he by any chance mentioned in Mr. Hampton's will?
He gets everything. All his money, the business, this building, everything. Oh, Mr. Casey, this is all such a terrible nightmare. I can't believe that he's gone. I don't know where to turn.
Oh, Miss Gray, it's all right. You mustn't break down. You need to rest a bit. Powder, you know, you'll feel better.
I'm all right. I'm sorry. If you'll just excuse me for a moment, I'll be right back.
Well, certainly, Miss Gray. I'm sorry we upset you.
Thank you. I'll be all right.
Casey, you know something?
What?
A clue. She was in love with her boss.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Never mind. Just take a woman's word for it.
What's the matter, young woman?
Oh, nothing. That is, you gave me a start.
Why should I frighten you?
Well, you look like...
And if I may ask, who are you? What are you doing here? I'm just a reporter. And who is this young lady?
I'm a reporter, too.
What are reporters doing here? If you'll pardon me, sir, who are you? My name is Robert K. Hampton. I'm John Hampton's uncle.
So you think this uncle had something to do with Hampton's death, huh?
Well, look, a guy named the Black Sheep Uncle as beneficiary in his will and suddenly gets a letter from him.
From all reports, he's very upset by it.
And the next day packs himself and his wife off in a plane for a double suicide.
Lieutenant Logan pronounced it an accident.
Yeah, well, it doesn't add up to me. This uncle ties in somehow. Come on, Ann, I gotta think. Let's get out in the air.
The nice smoke-laden air of the Blue Note, I have no doubt.
Hi, Ethelbert.
Hiya, Casey. Hiya, Miss Williams.
Hello, Ethelbert.
What'll you have?
One beer.
Same as usual for me.
Okay, beer and the usual coming up.
Hey, what are you reading, Ethelbert?
A book on victory gardening, I guess. My sister Edna gave it to me.
Oh, your sister Edna likes to read.
Yeah, she does. She don't drink much.
What's the name of the book?
5 Little Peppers and How They Grew.
Listen, why don't you read something interesting?
Like that death plane story of yours in the Express?
Something.
I'm following that, too.
Good.
Here's your beer.
Well, what's your opinion?
Well, I think it was a sort of chameleon of errors. I think this guy was planning to run away with some dame.
No?
He gets the plane all heated up for it when a heavily veiled figure sneaks into the cockpit beside him and gives him the nod to get going. Then he finds out that it's his wife and not his lady friend under the heavy drapes and that she's crossed him up. And by that time, he's so disgusted he dumps the whole thing in the drink.
On what do you base these deductions, Ethelbert?
Yes, mastermind. Tell us.
Quote, he who tries to fool his wife ends up playing the fool himself. Unquote.
You better stick to your books, Ethelbert, and leave the amateur detecting the cases.
Yeah, and you know, Ethelbert, I wouldn't waste my time on 5 Little Peppers either. It's way over your head.
Well, to tell the truth, I'm having a tough time wading through it. You got any ideas?
Well, there's Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire.
They got that in a book already?
Sure.
Well, it just declined and fell last September.
Hey, look, Annie, you tell him. I'm going over and talk to Ernie.
Hiya, Casey.
Hi, Ernie.
Ooh, you look worried.
Yeah? Ernie, you got an old tune handy, something for me to think by?
Sure.
That's good. Can't quite tag it, though.
Me and my shadow.
Oh, yeah, sure. Me and my shadow.
Yep. You know, that other self always under your feet?
Other self, huh?
Yep. You got another self. Now, one Casey has to stay here and work on the express.
Yeah.
The other wants to fly away. Go deer hunting up in the woods somewhere.
Ernie, you got an uncle?
Sure, I got an uncle.
Well, look, if you knew he was coming to see you, would you want to fly away?
Well, I'd be tempted to.
Yeah, why?
Because it'd mean that he was bringing his 8 kids along to live off of me.
Yeah, but the thought wouldn't make you want to kill yourself, would it?
Oh, Casey, why you gotta be so dramatic? Of course not.
Tell me, Ernie, what makes guys want to get away?
Oh, a name, usually. I see them fly away from one and go right to another, leaving all their worldly goods behind them.
That's kind of costly, isn't it?
Yeah. Names are costly. Now, if it was me now, I'd try to get the dame to fly away and leave my worldly goods to me.
Yeah. What?
I say it'd pay a fella better if he could get the dame to fly away and leave the worldly goods to you.
Ernie, I think you got something there. Yeah, thanks. Five Little Peppers and how they grew has got me puzzled. I'm in the 4th chapter already, and they ain't even started to spade the ground up. Hey, come on, Ann. I suddenly got a hunch.
Hey, where are we going?
Home. But tomorrow, we're going back and have another look at Uncle Robert K. Hampton.
You may come in now.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Robert K. Hampton. Miss Williams, Mr. Casey.
Yes, we've met before, briefly.
How do you do?
Well, this is the young lady who was so startled yesterday when she first saw me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton. It was just that you looked so much
I know. You were struck by my resemblance to my nephew.
Yes.
Well, I don't blame you. You know, I never realized how much he'd got to look like me until I arrived and saw his picture here.
Yes, it is a striking resemblance, sir. Your hair is gray instead of brown.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, he had a mustache.
Yeah, but then he wanted to take you for brothers otherwise.
I think they're quite different.
Well, after all, there were only 7 years difference in our ages. I was just a kid when my brother's son, John, was born.
Yeah, we were very sorry about what happened to your nephew, Mr. Hampton. These things are always kind of tough to take.
Yes, they are. But, of course, it wasn't entirely unexpected. You know, I thought John would probably come to some violent end. Why, even as a kid, he was always keyed up. Couldn't relax. Airplane notion. You should have taken things easier. Now look at me. I spent my youth bumming around the world. Never made much, but I had fun and got along. Then I found a spot where life was pleasant, and I settled down.
Where was that?
Jurang Island, near Borneo. Paradise. Simply paradise. That is, until the Japs came along. Then I somehow managed to get out. Just by the skin of my teeth, too.
Exciting.
Yes. Now, well, here I am. You see, everything worked out pretty well.
Yes, thanks to John Hampton, who spent his whole life...
That's right. You were saying?
I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton.
Do you mind if I take some pictures, Mr. Hampton? My paper wants to run a feature on you and your nephew. You know, your vastly different lives and activities. You know, the Hampton who traveled the earth and the Hampton who stayed at home.
That's rather a good idea, Mr. Casey. Where would you like me? Beside this picture of John?
No.
Hey.
Sorry.
Yes, I would if you don't mind. Let's try behind the desk there.
All right. How's this?
You'll pardon me, Mr. Hampton, but your hair's a little mussed. You know, with such striking gray hair as you have, you ought to have it looking its best.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll...
No, don't move. Miss Williams will arrange it.
Oh, all right.
Have you got a comb, Ann?
Uh-huh. There's one right here in my bag. Now, just a second. There you are.
Thank you.
Fine, that's it. Now, Mr. Hampton, hold it.
Want another?
I'm sure that one picture should be enough.
Miss Gray, if you please.
Well, we'll take one more, just one more for good luck. Now, hold that just as you are, right there. Thank you.
Oh, but I'm afraid I'm in that one, too. Your camera was pointed right at me.
Well, we'll see when they're developed. Now, thank you both very much.
Thank you. You know, Mr. Casey, I'm somewhat of a camera fan myself.
No, that's so?
Yes, taken pictures all my life. I have some beautiful shots of Shirang Island. I was wondering if perhaps you couldn't print them along with the feature on my nephew and me. Not that I would want to monopolize the story, of course, no. But I only thought it might set off the differences in us. More dramatically. You know, give it a little added color.
Yeah, sure. Sure, that might be an angle. Let's see the pictures.
Yes, well, I have a few small ones in my wallet here.
Uh-huh.
The Japs got most of my stuff, of course.
Oh, yes, I can imagine.
Let me see now. Yes, here's a nice shot. Mount Tonamau.
Ah. Hey, look at this, Anne.
Beautiful.
And this is a view of my backyard, so to speak, looking north.
Is that you in the hammock?
Yes, that's me. I used a self-timer. Set it and then ran and got into the picture. Used a flexo camera with f3.5 lens at 1/20th of a second.
Oh, it's not bad. What's this one?
That's me again. Same trick. That was taken from the front porch.
Looking south?
Yes.
That's lovely country. Looks almost like a stage setting.
I think perhaps we're boring these people, Mr. Hampton.
Yes, I'm afraid we are.
No, really, not at all. I'd like to use these pictures. They're exceptional shots.
And pictures always dress up a feature.
Well, all right. But you will be careful to return them to me, won't you? They're the only prints I have, and I treasure them beyond words.
Don't worry, I'll treat them with kid gloves.
Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Well, that's all right. Now, I think we better be pushing off. Time and deadlines wait for no man.
And no woman either. We're happy to meet you, Mr. Hampton, and we hope that you like it here.
I think I shall. Take good care of the picture.
Right. Look for him in the Morning Express.
Fine, thank you.
Goodbye. I don't like that young man. He's too clever.
Now, darling, take it easy. After all, he's only a newspaper photographer.
Are you sure this article on you is a good idea?
Of course. We'll need it. Why do you think I went to all that work to get those pictures? The public must be convinced, too. Now, don't worry, my dear. There'll be no slip-up.
There better hadn't be. Not after 11 years of planning and waiting.
Now that those people have the pictures, I'll set fire to the evidence.
You mean burn the negatives?
There are little fires and big fires.
Oh. You mean...
Yes. Tomorrow night, a nice big fire.
Let's see that negative, eh?
Here you are. Yes, sir. That I call a nice layout.
Yeah. Pictures look pretty good, huh?
My article's all right, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someday I must teach you how to read.
Oh, yeah. Say, these of Chirang Island came out really bright and clear, didn't they? Hey, Ann, look at this.
What?
You notice anything strange about those two shots taken in Hampton's front and backyard?
No.
Well, I do. Look at this bank of clouds here. It looks sort of like a face, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. It looks like my Aunt Sophie.
Now, quit clowning. Look at it close.
I'm looking.
Well, now, that's supposed to be a view looking north.
That's right.
Well, here's exactly the same formation in the view looking south.
Well, that's queer.
Queer. It's a physical impossibility. There haven't been two cloud formations exactly alike since the first day of creation.
Well, then these scenes were fake.
Yeah, they were beautifully fake. You know, I thought Hampton froze a little when you made that crack.
Which crack?
How about those pictures looking almost like a stage setting? No, Annie. Hampton gave us these pictures for the paper for a reason. He wants everyone to see them. He wants everyone to think that he has lived all these years miles away from here, and that he arrived here just in time to have a pot of gold fall into his lap.
Oh, that's a little too neat, isn't it?
Yeah, these pictures are all he's got to prove he wasn't here all the time.
Well, if he was here, how do we know he didn't murder John Hampton? He had the motive, all right. The will gives him everything.
Yeah, and right under John Hampton's feet. Hey, who said something like that? Ernie. That's right, me and my shadow. Annie, I think I got it.
Quick, let me look at your comb.
Well, sure, Casey. Well, here, but what on earth's the matter?
Hey, wait a minute. Here, look at this. A hair. A lone gray hair. I gotta take this down to Logan and have him run some tests on it. I'll see you back here in about an hour.
Well, here are your pictures of Hampton, the ones we didn't print.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to check on him. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Look, Burke. This one of Hampton with Miss Gray in the background. You see this?
Yeah. And what a sugar-coated look she's got on her puss.
Here, let me see.
Don't she look like a mother whose son has just been made president of his class or something?
She in love with this guy?
Of course not.
You sure, Ann?
Well, she just met him.
Uh-huh. You swore she was in love with her boss.
That's right, and a woman like that couldn't be in love with two men.
Why not?
Because she's the perfect one-man woman type.
Uh-huh. That's all I wanted to hear. I got a theory on this case, and this just about puts a pin on it. Come on.
Hey, where are we going?
We got a little job of breaking and entering to do. We're going to crash the deserted studio of the Aristocrat Film Company. I think I just about got it.
Isn't this a tiny little bit illegal?
I can fix that with Logan. He and I are just like that.
Uh-huh.
There we are. Come on, we got to work fast.
Oh, spooky, isn't it?
Where did I light a match? See any light switches around here?
Wait a minute. Here's one.
That's better. Oh, so this is the Aristocrat movie studio, huh?
And a fine place to bring a young girl in the dead of night.
Annie, you see those crates over there?
Yeah?
I'll bet you 10 to 1 they're full of prop palms, grass mats, and tropical foliage. Let's see.
All right. Mr. Casey, your intuition is appalling. I'm glad I didn't cover that bit.
Uh-huh. Artificial flowers, trees, rocks, leaves. Everything you need to build up a nice little South Sea Island setting right here.
Uh-huh. You mean Hampton could have sneaked in here alone, arranged a beautiful little tropic setting, and taken pictures all over the place?
Not only could have, he did, with a self-timer. And by changing the bushes and foliage around, he got the so-called view from his front porch and the one from his back porch.
Well, where's the sky with a funny cloud formation?
It's hanging right over your head. Look up.
All those big hanging things?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those. Those are background, you see, held up there by these ropes tied right here.
Oh, which, these?
Hey, look out. You want to kill us both? You pull that knot and all those heavy drops will crash down on our heads.
Oh, sorry. I only thought you might want to get them down to see if you could find the one with the cloud.
Yeah, but we'll have to snub the rope around this peg and have to drop down gradually. Those things are heavy.
Put your hands up, Casey.
Hampton.
He's got a gun.
You too, Miss Williams.
Oh, yes, sir.
You seem surprised to see me, Mr. Casey. Why? You forget that I own this studio now? It's rather I who should be surprised. What are you doing here? We're looking for Churang Island. And you? I came to burn this place down. For a reason that you may have already surmised. Yeah. You didn't want anyone to find out where you made those phony pictures, did you? No, and I don't want you to tell them. And you won't if you and your charming lady friend should get trapped here and cremated. There's rather an ugly name for that. Murder. A murder is not a murder until it's proven so. But before I kill you, I want you to tell me something. Yes, I expected that. Most murderers are very cautious to know where they slipped up. All right, I'll tell you, Mr. John Hampton. Oh. You guessed that, too. Of course. You're not Robert K. Hampton. There never was any Robert K. Hampton. You never fled from the Japs on Churang Island. You picked that place because it would be impossible to check your story. This whole thing was arranged between you and Miss Matilda Gray. You planned this for years and been in love with her for years. Go on. You drew your will to a fictitious uncle and probably faked up enough credentials so that you could appear to be that uncle.
And then when the time came, all you had to do was drug your wife, put her in a helicopter.
There was just enough fuel to get over the ocean and set the controls and let her go. Don't you think the plan was clever? Fiendishly clever. And it was clever of you to spend 10 years working out your disguise. Most criminals try to change their identity by putting on a disguise. You achieved a change by taking one off. One you'd worn for 10 years. You shaved your mustache, bleached the dye out of your hair, and then came down here and took a few pictures of yourself in a tropical setting.
Then, the very next day, you turned up as the long-lost uncle, inheriting all your own money and in a position to marry Miss Matilda Gray.
I fooled everyone but you, Mr. Casey. Tell me, why did you suspect me?
Well, being a photographer, maybe I looked too closely at your pictures. And you made the mistake of using the same sky in all of them.
Oh. Clever of you to notice it.
Well, you slipped up on one other little thing, too. Your hair. Remember when I combed it for you, Mr. Hampton?
Yes, under the police microscope, a strand of your hair still showed traces of brown dye.
It's those little things, Mr. Hampton.
Perhaps. And then, of course, you should never have let me get a picture of Matilda Gray off guard. For although she treated you badly and seemed to hate you, her love showed up in the face as plainly as though it were written there.
Very interesting.
And as Anne told me, a woman like Matilda Gray couldn't love two men. It turned out she didn't. Both men were you.
Quite right. Now, before you have a chance to turn this story over to the police, I'm afraid I shall have to shoot you both.
I wonder if you'd mind shooting me first. The sight of blood, you know.
You can't afford to joke, Miss Williams.
Oh, no. I don't want to be too near. May I stand over there by those ropes?
Wherever you wish.
Thank you.
Good girl, Annie. Good girl. Boy, that dude is... Okay, I got his gun.
Wow, that drop sure beat him.
Is he breathing?
Yeah. But he won't know it for an hour or so. Gee, kid, nice going.
Well, darling, you told me not to pull that knot and...
Annie, this was an inspiration. I could just about kiss you.
Oh, so I've got to save your life to deserve one stingy little kiss.
Well, boys and girls, day of days. The drinks are on first.
Now, wait a minute, Casey. My bet was with you. You can't do this to me.
Can't I, though? Hi, Ethelbert.
Hi, Casey. Miss Williams. Well, Mr. Burke, this is a surprise.
Yes,
Burke's buying the drinks, Ethelbert.
Well, what'll it be?
Hello, Ethelbert.
Oh, hello, Grace. What'll it be, Miss Williams?
Double martini.
A double?
2 olives.
Oh.
And the usual for me. A double.
Now, wait a minute, Casey.
And a double scotch for Ernie at the piano, too.
Hey, go easy, Casey.
One for his shadow, yeah. And one for you, Ethelbert, and a double for Grace.
Hey, Casey.
And see what the boys in the back room will have, too.
And what would you like, Mr. Burke?
Oh, please, Ethelbert. How much is sarsaparilla?
Well, as Carrie Nation once said, quote, he who partakes only of nature's liquor has the pleasure of remaining sober and paying the check, unquote.
You've been listening to Casey, Press Photographer, played by Staats Cotsworth, a new series of adventure programs based on the fictional character created by George Harmon Cox. Casey, Press Photographer is directed by Albert Ward and produced for Columbia by John Dietz. Tonight's story was written by Charles Holden. Join us again next week at the same time for another swift-moving story of Casey, Press Photographer. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.